Here you will learn how to make a double pinch pot hollow construction. To start, the rounder your clay is, the easier this is going to be. Start by using a wire cutter to cut your ball as perfectly in half as you can. You're going to create 2 pinch pots out of each half. We started with 1 ball because if they start the same shape, you're more likely to be able to put them back together and have the size of the rims match up. I know you're all pinch pot experts by now, but just a few reminders. Do this slow and steady. Make sure your pot is completely even throughout, not only the rim, but the bottom. We don't want any chunky bottoms. And don't pinch the rim too thin because we need to attach that to something. So if it's too thin, it will not stick well. As you can see from the screenshot, aim for a rim that is about the thinness of your pinky. Repeat the same step with your second half. Remember, keep that rim the thickness of your pinky. Have it nice and even throughout. And the tricky part comes in with us trying to make those 2 rims match up with the same circumference. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold those 2 halves together and check to see if they match up. If I need to adjust, I recommend taking the narrower one and widening it to match up with the wider one. Now this is what I like to do. I'm just going to gently tap on the table so that that rim is perfectly flat. I will do that to both, and then I will score and slip and attach them together. Because we are going to be touching these more even after we attach them, I will emphasize again the importance of really deep scoring, enough slip, and really pressing those together. There is trapped air inside of these 2, so you can apply pressure without worry of them collapsing. The last thing I will do to ensure these 2 pieces are really staying together is take some soft clay and add it all around that join. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm taking a little bit at a time and I am just smearing it into that join. This can look sloppy at first because I will neaten it up once I am done, but this has to happen all the way around. Blend it in as best as you can. And the softer the clay, the better. Now that it's all attached and smeared in, I will take my metal rib tool. If I fold it so that it is slightly rounded, I can now go along the shape of my circle to really make that smooth. If you somehow lost your shape along the way and it is not as round as you would like, you can go directly onto those black tables and just gently roll this around, and it should get it back into a nice round shape, as well as burnish the surface, making it even smoother. Now, maybe perfectly round isn't what you want. Because of that trapped air, we are kind of limited with the shape, but if I want, I can aim my rolls a little bit to try to change the shape. So I'm trying to give this a bit of a conical shape now. If that doesn't work, you can try gently tapping with the paddle. But again, that trapped air is keeping this from really changing shape too much. If you want a different shape, we'll have to build our hollow construction a little differently from the get-go. And I will have a separate video showing you how to do that. So while we're still in this video, I'm going to show you how we can use some of our tools to alter the shape even more and give it some detail. Now, mine is going to ultimately turn into a pumpkin. Yours does not have to be a pumpkin. You don't have to do this method. You can try it to aim for a different shape, but I'm just showing you so that you know it is an option. So using the needle tool, I'm just drawing some preliminary lines for my pumpkin shape. And now I'm going to go back in and follow those lines with this rounded rib tool by pressing. So with the needle tool, that is considered 2-dimensional. That is drawing on clay. We do not want to draw on clay because we are 3D artists. By pressing in with this rib, I'm creating a 3-dimensional shape. Consider it the ridges of a pumpkin. I'm giving this pumpkin those 3-dimensional sections, making it look way more realistic. Notice I am not dragging the rib tool, but rather rotating it, ensuring that I don't accidentally cut through that clay. So I'm just doing this to each section, going back in and smoothing it, and ultimately I will go back in again to make those sections a little bit deeper, but there you go, a trick to give yourself a little bit of realism. fast forward, my shape is completely done. I can go back in and add some more additive elements, some applique if I want, but while my clay is still soft and I'm waiting for it to dry and firm up, I can start mapping out where I want to pierce through my clay. And remember, piercing is the finishing technique that we are practicing. So again, this is why I feel like a pumpkin is a perfect example, because we all understand what it means to carve a pumpkin and pierce through all the way. So feel free to map out where you plan to pierce, but I highly recommend waiting until your project is slightly firmer before you pierce, so it leaves much cleaner cuts.